managed a polite smile. He couldn't have been more than 20. Looking like all he wanted in the world was to make his exit. I knew what that was like. "So, next week?" Lila said to Isaac. "Yes, ma'am." He nodded as he stepped out and closed the big door behind him. When I graduated college at 16, the Washington Post wrote it up. Newsweek magazine ran a profile when I cracked the Karvanen hypothesis at 20. But no one, not the news or the gray eminences of mathematics, would be interested in this phase of my career, where I left the validating structure of academia and went into the wilderness, where I became unaffiliated and therefore unserious. Leaving my academic life behind and coming here felt like the first decision I ever made entirely for myself, but it hadn't been exactly voluntary. The panic attacks were getting worse, and more than once, I had had to cancel class. I left before I broke, though not by much. But though I earned disapprobation with my hasty departure, I gained a single key freedom. I could now work on Freeholt's conjecture, uninterrupted, and without the oblique digs and outright scorn of my peers. My father himself introduced me to Freeholt's when I was 15 years old, and ever since, it had been my guiding star. A fine riddle for a gifted teenager, Freeholt's was not considered solvable. For 200 years, it had withstood every attempt. Veteran math professors had nicknamed it the Impossible. But not impossible for me. As I stood in Lila's foyer, it was as though a dry, dusty shell fractured and fell from my body. As fragile and exposed as I felt underneath, I was safe here. And finally, I could breathe. No one to perform for. No one's expectations to fulfill. Only a big, quiet house and my wisp of a grandmother. My relief was both immense and exhausting. Lila patted my arm, her palm soft as ancient flannel. "I'm so glad you're here. How long can you stay?" Turns out, I could stay for 15 years. 1. The night before Lila's funeral, I rose from my nest on the couch in my study on the 3rd floor of the tower. I had not been sleeping well. Across the room, a damp wind blew through the open window. With both hands, I wrestled it down. The window panes and sashes were curved to match the walls of the tower, and they tended to stick. This one wouldn't shut the last inch, so I gave it up, turned off the lamps, and returned to my couch, pulling a throw blanket over my legs. Outside, bluish beams of streetlight illuminated the top limbs of the trees as they swayed in the wind. Since Lila's death, I had felt so unmoored that it was almost a physical sense of drift. After spending nearly every hour of every day spooning applesauce off her chin, drawing her ancient arms through threadbare sleeves, bathing and changing her, waking up when she cried out in the night, I felt her absence like a missing chamber of my own heart. So I went where I always went when I needed an anchor. Back to Freeholt's. My family thought I was in denial, spending the days and nights after her death closed in my study. But it wasn't denial.